Welcome to a new episode.
Hello and welcome back, Builders of Tomorrow, to the Copper Connection podcast, your ultimate revision platform for mastering technical qualifications in construction across the UK. As always, I'm your host, Chris Bailey, and today is a massive milestone for us here. This is episode 100. 100 weeks of breaking down jargon, tackling theory, building your future in the trade. Now, I talk a lot on this show about the importance of discipline, doing things the right way, and how mastering the theory can change your career. But you don't have to take my word for it. I'm not just saying it myself. Listen to this message I got from an ex-student of mine, Sebby.
Hi everyone, you see this bathroom is done by myself. I'm one of the ex-students of Chris Bailey that does the podcast. Watching his podcast and watching his whole tutorial, I've learned how to be disciplined in plumbing. Discipline in plumbing means the right way to do it, follow the manufacturer instruction, the good quality products, and the job has to be done properly. With Chris Bailey, I learned a lot because he gives you the right information, the way how it should be done, the way how plumbing is about. And I'm so grateful to meet and watch his podcast, Chris Bailey, because I'm 100% confident, more than 100% confident, everything that he says is the right way, how it should be done. So watch Chris Bailey, his podcast, and you will see, you will love it, and you will never regret it.
Sebby, mate, seeing that bathroom you finished and hearing you talk about discipline in plumbing, that's exactly why I started this show. To see a student go from the classroom to producing high quality professional work like that is the ultimate win. So for this, the 100th episode, we're going to recap the journey that gets you to that level. We're going to look back on the Copper Connection blueprint we've built over the last 99 episodes. So cast your minds back to Series 1, Episode 1. A simple idea. What if there's a podcast specifically built for UK plumbing students and construction apprentices? Something you, the learner on the bus, the apprentice in the van, the student cramming the night before an exam. We started with the fundamentals. Before you pick up a single tool, you have to know how to come home safe. We covered the Health and Safety at Work Act, COSH, manual handling and PPE, the stuff that keeps you and your team protected every single day. We talked about working at heights, risk assessments and method statements, and why these aren't just paper-worthy exercises, they are the difference between a safe site and a dangerous one. Then we went underground. We explored substructures and foundations, strip, raft, pad and pile foundations. We talked about how different soil types affect foundation choices, why clay behaves differently to sandy soils, and what happens when they get it wrong. We covered excavations and confined spaces, two of the most hazardous environments in the building service engineering. We broke down the 4 essential steps: planning, risk assessment, management and supervision. We talked about the 1.2 metre rule, soil collapse risks, and permit to work systems that could generally save your life. From the ground up, we moved into science. I know, electrical and science principles can feel like a brick wall, but we broke it down. We talked about material properties, ductility, malleability, conductivity, and why they matter when choosing the right pipework. We covered thermal expansion and the coefficient linear expansion, and the physics of pressure and head height. We demystified heat transfer, conduction, convection, radiation, and we've tackled electricity for plumbers, from Ohm's law and the power triangle to MCBs and LCD protection. Then we got into water systems. We covered cold water systems, direct and indirect, the water regulations, the fluid categories 1 through to 5, and why backflow prevention is non-negotiable. We talked about water quality, Legionella risk, and why 60 degrees Celsius is the magic number you must never forget. We moved on to hot water systems, direct and indirect cylinders, unvented systems, and instantaneous. We broke down approved document G and part L, at the 3 tiers of safety for unvented systems, and why the ton dish is your best friend when things go wrong. We even covered TMVs and how to set them correctly to protect us from scolding. Then came the big one, central heating. We covered open vented versus sealed systems, the logic of S-plans and Y-plan controls, and how to read a wiring diagram without your head spinning. We did deep dives into the neutral point, bypass valves, expansion vessels, and the 4% expansion rule. We talked about that black sludge that destroys pumps and inhibitors, and power flushing keeps systems running effectively. We covered approved document L, boiler efficiency, and why the industry is moving towards heat pumps and low carbon heating solutions. We went above ground and below ground with sanitation and drainage. We followed the journey of the water from the roof to the sewer, covering gutter profiles, rainfall intensity, and the 1 in 600 fall rule. We explored soil and waste systems, the primary ventilated stack, long radius bends, and the side trap seal loss. We broke down siphonage, compression, and capillary action. We made sure you understood the differences between soundness and performance testing, and the critical 38mm minimum trap seal depth. Then we got practical. We talked about the tools and processes, the hand tools in your bag, the power tools on site, and the crucial differences between positive fillings and fly drivers. We covered notching and drilling, the 0.125 depth rule, the centre line rule, and why getting it wrong can compromise the structural integrity of a building. We talked about fixings and clips, galvanic corrosion, and the different jointing methods, end feed, compression, and push fit, and which ones you can actually renew. We zoomed out and looked at the construction industry as a whole. We covered business structures, sole traders, partnerships and limited companies. We explored the professional roles in construction, architects, structural engineers, quality surveyors and project managers, and where your role as a tradesperson fits into that ecosystem. We talked about the design process, from feasibility studies and planning permissions to permitted development rights and listed buildings. We covered Gantt charts and critical path analysis, because planning is a trade skill, not just a management skill. We talked about soft skills that make a massive difference to your career. We covered relationship management, how to communicate with clients, colleagues and supervisors. We talked about the different types of communication, verbal, written, digital, and why professionalism matters on every job. We explored the life cycle assessment and the whole building concept, understanding that a building isn't just built and forgotten. It's maintained, adapted, and eventually decommissioned. As a building services engineer, you're part of the entire journey. And more recently, we focused on how to learn. We did a full revision masterclass breaking down why rereading and highlighting doesn't really work and what does. Active recall, spaced repetition, dual coding, and the Fryman technique. We covered research and report writing, how to find reliable sources, structure a strong report, and use Gantt charts to manage your coursework deadline. Whether you're working on an employer-set project or a written assignment, the process is the same. As always, we've covered a lot of ground in a short space of time. It's a long journey from being a beginner to being a qualified professional. And that brings me to one final message I would like to share. Because while Sebby showed us where you can end up, this message from Robert shows us exactly where the journey starts and why having the right resources matter when you're staring down those intimidating level 2 or level 3 exams.
A big congratulations on the 100th episode. So coming into the plumbing level 2, obviously never done employment before, I needed resource material on how to study for the course. So one of the useful things that were Copper Connections podcast. So coming into the industry for the first time, learning about it, obviously studying in college is one thing, but having an extra resource that breaks it down into more layman terms is definitely something that was beneficial for me, and that's where Copper Connections came in. It was really useful because the videos break things down. So coming into the industry for the first time and studying the plumbing course, obviously I needed extra resource material to break things down into layman terms, and that's where the Copper Connections podcast has been really helpful to me, because it's more of a personal approach that helps you skip all the complicated jargon of educational system, etc., and makes it much more digestible and understandable. The amount of resource that's on there with the varieties of videos, especially of how it approaches every person as a student to make it understandable. It's not so much as pure academics, it also incorporates real life examples that makes it much more digestible, much more understandable. Chris attempts the subject to go for the person who is just a beginner and also who's advanced as well. And going into the subject of theory, which can be quite intimidating because exams are coming up as well, so it's been very useful for revision, not having to read material physically. The material is also useful because even on your spare times when you don't have a lot of time, you can just put it on as a background noise and you can still learn quite a bit. And that's really useful, especially for someone who is an adult who doesn't have that much time, who has employment. It is really, really useful. The vast amount of videos that's available on the resource is also really good because anyone can pick it up, anyone can use it. Be it young professionals or someone who's just starting. It's also really fortunate because Chris is obviously really passionate about the subject and you can see it through his videos. It's also just before my theory exam as well, like an actual theory exam. I'm about to get the level 2, so it has definitely given me a lot of confidence to go into it. Big congratulations on the 100th episode.
A personal approach that helps you skip the jargon. Robert, you hit the nail on the head. Whether you're an adult learner like Robert, juggling a job, this show is your resource. Robert, good luck with them theory exams, you've got this. To Sebby, to Robert and to every single one of you listening in your van, on the bus or in the workshop, thank you for the last 100 episodes. This podcast was never about passing exams, it was about giving you the tools to build a career you're proud of. If I've helped you understand one tricky topic, then every minute of those last 100 episodes have been worth it. Now, let's go and build the next 100. I've been Chris Bailey, this has been the Copper Connection podcast, and we'll see you on the next episode.
We'll be back next week. In the meantime, please subscribe and thanks for listening.